Hello everybody, this is Pitch Girl Blank here, and welcome back to the Skulls General Reviews episode 2. And much better. Anyway, this is the Skulls General Reviews episode 2, and yes, this series is finally back. I just didn't quit this series after one episode or anything like that. I really did want to continue with this series, but unfortunately, things distracted me from producing more episodes of this series. But I am now back with a review of Return of the Living Dad. Now this isn't the episode I wasn't wanting to open up with. I was going to open up with The Romance of Crime to the return of this series, but it's okay that the episode that I've got for The Romance of Crime as of now, but well, actually it's pretty bad. The actual showcasing part of the book was good, but satisfactory for me, but the actual review part of the book was actually which was I think very good in terms of actual writing, but in audio quality it was just poor. And also the thumbnail, which I'm going to flash on screen in a minute. I thought it was a good idea at the time to go with the William Hartnell vortex of the or go with a black and white theme of the thumbnail, since I was using the William Hartnell vortex, but that didn't go too well. So yeah. But anyways, this is my review, or the Skulls General Reviews episode 2, and today in this episode I'm going to be taking a look at a Virgin new adventure known as Return of the Living Dad. So let us begin this review. So up here you have the New Adventures, Doctor Who, Return of the Living Dad, Kate Orman. Then for the cover art image itself, we have somebody trapped in the beam of, I'm actually assuming that this is Bernice Summerfield's dad, who is trapped in the abduction beam of what I believe is the Nabarino spaceship. And just in case you didn't know, Nabarinos, or the Nabarinos, are a monster that I think featured in a 7th Doctor TV story known as Delta and the Bannerman, and they actually make a return in this book, which is pretty interesting. And then this is all taking place in this kind of spiral cornfield maze, and then for the background itself we actually have kind of a very divine and hellish looking sky with all sorts of starry nebulas, dark clouds, lots of bright colours in there as well, amongst quite a few bright colours amongst the kind of general dark colours of the sky, with more like little rays down there. A very nice and very effective cover, and I would say it is one of my favourite covers in my collection. And if we were to take a look at the spine, it's very simple. It's just a white background with Return of the Living Dad in block capital letters in red, which isn't focusing in a minute. There you go. Then Kate Orman in the same kind of style, but only in black and a lot smaller. Then the Doctor Who logo down there for the later Virgin New Adventure spines. And then here's a look at the back. So you've got this kind of black frame which frames this kind of grey vortex, which is interesting. Then you've got the title, Return of the Living Dad, an original Doctor Who novel, a quote from the book, and then the blurb, which I'm going to read off soon. Doctor Who logo, a bit about Kate Orman, which I'm going to read off after I've read the blurb. Barcode and all sorts of miscellaneous things, such as who designed the cover and whatnot, the prices, and what kind of genre it is, which is science fiction and TV tie-in. It's me, Daddy. It's Bernice. Bernice Summerfield was 7 years old when her father disappeared. They said he turned and ran from the Daleks in battle. They said he was a coward. They were wrong. For years, Benny has searched for her father. Now a clue snatches her from her honeymoon, back to the TARDIS and on to England in the year 1983. There she at last discovers Admiral Isaac Summerfield, leading a motley crew of aliens, psychics and fanboys. Their mission? To save extraterrestrials stranded on Earth. But what is Benny's father doing 500 years in his own past? And why has he been waiting for the Doctor to arrive? Can Benny really trust the man she's been looking for all her life? Then down here you've got Kate Orman lives on the internet and occasionally in Sydney, Australia. This is her 4th new adventure. Another one of which I'm currently awaiting on in the post, which hopefully arrives later today. Now we're going to be moving on to the general consensus of this book. On Goodreads, this book has gotten a 3.81 out of 5, along with some reviews like there is a very love-hate relationship with this particular Kate Orman book. But I must say I did find it rather engrossing. It shows a great deal about how endearing Benny Summerfield became as part of the expanded Doctor Who universe. Perhaps a few too many people are put off by soap opera aspects surrounding Benny's family issues, but I found it all rather authentic. It also deserves a lot of credit for a plot that deals with the consequences of the Doctor's actions when he visits Earth, who cleans up the messes he leaves behind. It's a very Russell T Davies / Stephen Moffat plot point, 10 years ahead of its time. 4 out of 5. Another strong read from Orman that rises above its origins as a TV tie-in. The plot is almost secondary to the strong characterisation we get of Benny and her father, as they come back together and see how their lives might intersect. This is an even better send-off to Benny than Happy Endings, and it makes me eager to read her continued adventures on her own. 4 out of 5. Devoured it in 2 hours. A great example of the latest new adventures. Not sure I never got around to reading this one until now. Orman weaves a story that stands well on its own, but it's outstanding for those who read DNAs and were immersed in the Doctor Who fan culture of the 90s. Some of the in-jokes are a bit too much though. 5 out of 5. Now we're going to move on to my own personal opinion on this book. Do I agree with the general consensus? Let's find out. In my personal opinion, this is an absolutely fantastic and very enjoyable Doctor Who book to read. It was a lot lighter in comparison to other Doctor Who books such as Lucifer Rising and books like The Romance of Crime and Lucifer Rising and those kind of books. It was still a kind of a science fiction novel, but it wasn't as hard science fiction as those other books necessarily were. This book is more of a lighter kind of science fiction story and is more a character piece for Bernice Summerfield, because in this book she actually gets reunited with her father, which isn't a spoiler because the blurb pretty much says that. She actually, or the blurb actually does says that she does get reunited with her father, with the line, "But what is Benny's father doing 500 years in his own past?" Well, I don't think it really is a spoiler to say that Benny does get reunited with her father. So yeah, it's more of a character piece for Bernice Summerfield, because she does get reunited with her father. And so yeah, I would also say that it's interesting to see that there's actually all sorts of aliens and stuff from previous Doctor Who stories and stuff, such as the Naborinos actually make a return, because part of this plot actually is an alien invasion of all sorts of creatures and stuff from the Doctor's past and whatnot, including the Naborinos. And so yeah, I would say overall this is a really interesting and very good read, and I would say it actually has some nice bits of realism to it as well, such as I think it was Benny or somebody else actually gets stung by a bee in this book, which actually makes no, a wasp I think it was actually, which adds a nice bit of realism to this book. So this is kind of a nice light, somewhat realistic alien invasion story that is more of a character piece for Bernice Summerfield. at the time being, I'm going to give this book an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. However, I can see this book actually getting a higher rating upon further reads of this book, which I can easily see myself doing, and I am pretty curious about rereading this book. Bad Therapy I read, and I've read twice, and that went up by rating the second time I read it, so maybe that this book will go up in ratings as well, from like an 8 to an 8.5 to maybe even a 9 out of 10, which I think it will if I do get around to rereading it, which I'm pretty sure I will do sometime in the future. So yeah, and that pretty much concludes the Skulls Journal Reviews episode 2, which is my review of Return of the Living Dad. This is one book I'd really recommend, and so yeah, and that pretty much concludes this video. So like, fair, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Pitch Girl Black, dematerializing.